Hello.
Hello.
Oh yeah. Hello.
Hi there.
Yeah. Can you hear me well?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, I can hear you just fine. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm pretty good. How about you?
Yeah, everything's alright. Everything's alright. Just thought maybe might be 1 2 minutes late because there was an event and we were running late. But yeah, everything's alright. Everything's good.
Yeah,
so yeah, I think we can just start with the form first. And yeah, nice to meet you first of all too. um, but
yeah, it's nice to meet you.
Yeah, I would say let's start with the form, see what your goals are and everything. Is that sounds good?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay, let's take a look. And what kind of name you put in there? Is it gonna be Piggy Star?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
let's
that
take a
works
look.
fine.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I found it. I found it. Okay, so in terms of your expectations, yeah, like you said, hopefully open your eyes to something I'm not aware of and that you're doing wrong. In terms of your realizations, you reached the limit of what you've been able to see through self reflection. That's understandable. And you think you need to work on your awareness when it comes to the state of your teammates and use of your cooldowns. Okay, can you elaborate on that actually? Is there anything specific what's been tough for you to track, tough for you to be aware of, stuff like that?
Yeah, I find when there's like team fights or I'm getting like jumped or pressured, I find myself kind of losing awareness of like, oh, is my tank low? Is like my other support getting dove? Or my DPS okay? That kind of stuff. I get kind of tunnel visioned. And as far as cooldowns, sometimes I find myself just kind of throwing abilities out when I don't really need to, and then it kind of bites me later when I don't have like my dash to get away or my tether to stop me from getting jumped. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, and I would say just fixing your awareness, making sure that you know where everyone on the field when they're gonna go in, it can help a lot with just maybe holding your ability or using it in the right moment. So yeah, that's 100% something we can focus on. Okay, and current rank is high plat, low diamond. And in terms of your characters, you mentioned that more aggressive supports like Brig, Mizuki and Lucio sometimes. Okay, is are there any other characters you play or just those three?
Uh, so I kind of jump around a lot of the characters. But like I've been more of in a like a Brig, more Brig, and then now recently Mizuki came out, so I've been playing more of that. Um, so I've kind of wanted to focus more on like those Brig, I guess slightly on the offside, but more Mizuki right now because I think he's kind of he feels very a bit more difficult to me than Brig does. I feel like I get Brig pretty well. But Mizuki, I feel kind of weird when I play him. Because he kind of has that aura heal of Brig, but it's a lot smaller, so you have to play a lot closer than I'm used to.
Hmm?
Because normally with Brig, I kind of just take like a high ground, or I'll kind of sit behind, whip shot to get Inspire up, health pack who needs it. Um, but Mizuki, the one thing that I thought of while I was playing earlier is I have a hard time gauging when um someone who's like pushed forward as a lost cause versus when I can go help them. Um like a Doom or like another tank when they push. Um I have a hard time gauging like when I need to start backing up and when I should still be helping them.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I would say Mizuki is pretty interesting support. There's quite a lot he can do, so yeah, we can pay attention to him. And also, you mentioned. Well, I just wanted to ask how many hours you have on the Mizuki, and do you enjoy the character overall? Yeah, what do you think?
I think on Mizuki, I think I played a lot of them today. I think I hit maybe probably about like 6 hours on Mizuki. Um so far, which for a new character is pretty good at least.
Yeah, of
I think
course.
I'm mastery 11 or 12. I've been sprinkling some Emery in there because Emery's super fun. But I really like Mizuki. Despite some of the things that I feel like are maybe a little bit of a shortcoming for him, I really enjoy the play style of the damaging to heal. Because like I said, I like Brig a lot, so that kind of play style is really fun for me because I like to play a lot more aggressively. Um, I
Makes
think
sense.
my only
Mhm.
couple issues with Mizuki, I think the primary feels a little short. Uh, because I kind of feel like if I'm in like a more long range engagement, I'm kind of useless until we make a little more space. Where if I want to take like an off angle and try to do that, but um, my other thing is yeah, like I've said, the uh, the the mobility is something I have a huge problem with. The lack of vertical mobility honestly is really painful for me because I like really mobile characters. Like I've played a lot of Vendetta since she came out. I used to play a lot of old Doom, so like I really like mobility and the lack of vertical to get to like high ground and stuff with my team um, has been a bit of a challenge. And then I feel like maybe the teleport I think is maybe a little too short. A lot of times I feel like I don't have enough time to actually like use it to get out or trick who's ever trying to chase me. I do like to use it sometimes though for more of like a
Mhm.
an engage, like throw it down behind a wall, go in, maybe try to get one of their supports who's not paying attention, a DPS who's not paying attention.
And
Overall
how?
though, definitely my
Okay.
favorite character of the update for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And with this kind of play style, when you sew in the teleport, you go in a little bit, be aggressive. How that's been working so far for you?
Um, it works sometimes. My aim is still a little shaky with his projectile, still getting kind of used to it. But I found it works sometimes. Sometimes it can help your team to kind of want to push forward a little bit more too, which is always nice. I found like most of the time I don't usually get a kill, but it'll usually grab their like support's attention for a couple seconds and at least distract them off the tank or whoever they're trying to help.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, I would say let's take a look. So far, from what I observed, and it's not only me watching the pro players, it's also me playing the game. I feel like the support is really aggressive in terms of just how you're supporting your teammates. You can always be active with your cooldowns, kind of see where you can sneak in damage here and there, but at the same time, you can pay attention to the people on your team, but I wouldn't stress it too much about the aura you have around the character. It kind of
Mm.
works in similar way like Lucio, in my opinion. Well, whereas the Lucio, the aura is pretty big, but the thing is, you have with this character is offensive capabilities. So I think just being aggressive, finding ways for you to push important angles and support the right teammates with your right click. Yeah, you have two of those, just a little bit of healing here and there. You can throw it across the map. I think this is kind of important. Some similarities to the brick, to be honest. Yeah, like you described, when you pack in the person, I think using the cooldown in the right way on the right person is so important, but at the same time, there are so many opportunities to make plays, and it's just chain ability. It's also your shift where you can go more aggressive, so stuff like that. But anyway, let's see. Maybe we can come up with a few solutions how we can tweak our gameplay in a better way. And yeah, let's just take a look at this replay, I guess. Yeah, are you ready to start? Can you see the stream?
Uh, yep. I will say one thing about this
Mhm.
game. Uh, there were a lot of times what would happen is my team would kind of, as does happen, my team would kind of just collapse into like a fight. Um, so I would often find myself a little bit out of position and kind of in the middle of the enemy team because I've kind of been overly stressing myself about keeping the aura near my tank and near my team. Um, it doesn't. I don't think it happens as much in this first half, but in the later halves, I think it gets
Yeah.
kind of bad.
Yeah, and this is what I think. Yeah, just kind of this early seasons Lucio players mentality, right? Where they would play a lot with their teammates, but in reality, once the game developed more and more, people recognized that, well, maybe we can use wall right a little bit more, maybe we can start using the speed boost a little bit more, and that's where you being completely separate from your team is going to be completely fine, because at the same time, you can build healing this way, yeah, because we hit the stuff, I believe there's going to be the boost of the healing capabilities, which is quite nice, but at the same time, most importantly, you disabling the enemy with the damage, so maybe looking through the lens of that is gonna be quite important for us, but yeah, let's see. Like I said, yeah, maybe stacking for the tank, stacking the rest of the people might be not necessarily the most ideal, but yeah, let's see what we can do here. Okay, anyway, you guys finding early picks, that's nice, moving up, pushing forward, have an advantage here, which should be okay. Just dealing with the Mizuki too, that's fine. By the way, how is the stream quality? Is it looking okay?
Yeah, it looks fine to me.
Yeah, alright. Yeah, so far the fight goes okay. I see the few things we could be maybe trying to push tweak a little bit, but yeah, let's keep watching so far. Okay, I would like you to ask this. When you experimented with off angles, how, well, you mentioned that sometimes it works, sometimes it's not, but would you say that you're taking off angles quite frequently in your games, or would you say that you're more stacking with your tank at the moment?
Um, so it kind of depends. With I try to play kind of around what my tank is, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Because like I know Domina has been getting banned and ranked basically every game, but like if I have a Domina, I might take more off angles just because she's kind of applying that front pressure. In this game, I didn't really feel like I was able to kind of split off because our Emery on the right was getting like constantly harassed. So I was trying to, because he's over there by the thing. I was trying to keep an eye on him as well because that Onron kept going over. Um, so like I was kind of playing more reserved this game
yes.
than I normally would, but yeah.
Okay, so right away, to think about our positioning, what you would say, where should you play ideally and why? Yeah, why to play over here, why not to play anywhere else? What are your thoughts?
Um, I probably I probably would have played more over maybe on the like right side of the hog near
Mhm.
that wall,
Okay.
just kind of ping at the Orisa, build up my healing aura, or maybe more towards the Mercy and use that wall as cover, while also kind of staying near Emery and keeping him secure and keep poking.
Exactly, exactly. And you know, I'm thinking most of the time that's gonna be your strategy. In terms of angles, I would say you should do that quite frequently, but at the same time, so we'll not get lost with what kind of off angle we can take. Maybe thinking about the people we will enable on the angle, this will help you a lot. Yeah, so I'm thinking what kind of DPS or maybe even tank sometimes I can go with, and this way you can kind of maintain those positions a little bit longer, because this way it's going to be easier for you to achieve map control. It kind of in a similar way like you sometimes think with the Lucio, Brig at the same time, maybe even Kiriko. Yeah, a lot of the times you can just TP in with the character on the Kiriko. Remember, if you watch some of the pro players, maybe they would try to set up around the Tracer a lot, or let's say the Brig would also play with their Tracer in a way. Yeah, we can show the pack there, and the Lucio also the same. Here we don't have any flanker, but at the same time we have person taking off angle, so that's maybe nice direction for us to take with, trying to set up at locations where not only we're taking off angles, which is mine in my opinion, this is gonna be something like 90 angle for you in a way. Kind of trying to lean towards it. A lot of the times I use this term for the people. So for example, if we have our core in the main, this position A, then I can be on sort of more 90 angle of attack, for example, here B or here C in theory, because this way I will divert more of the enemy attention and I will keep the space keep working on the space. Yep, it's just gonna be better map control for us. But at the same time, we're trying to enable the active off angle. So right away, maybe something what you can be thinking about too here is who may take off angles with you and try to enable them. You see, like right now, should it be sitting here? Or should it be anywhere else? Let's look at the bigger picture. What do you see? What kind of off angles? Who takes those and where can it be? What do you think?
Um, Probably looking at it now, I probably should have gone more towards the Emery side. Probably could have helped him.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yep. And you
because if they were playing more of a, I think if they were playing maybe more of a reserve, like a more less divey, jumpy team,
Mhm.
maybe the other side I could have gone on to get some poke in, maybe disrupt their healers a bit.
Yeah, actually not bad idea too. I would say versus the dive sometimes might be a little bit difficult because you don't want to be too isolated, but at the same time you still
Yeah.
like to take angles, I would say, because you need to keep contesting them and see, more importantly, it's not that I have to deal with a Doomfist who's actually kind of just went feeding for some reason. But yeah, anyway, it's better for us to deal with people taking angles like this. Yeah, we can get rid of them, so my DPS can take angles, and then afterwards I can also take that angle by myself and try to play there as the character. Just always helps you, and this is where your chain ability is going to be really useful too, because you see, on the main there are going to be less opportunities, but you don't want to just show an ability, right? You kind of need to think about an ability this way, such I will give an example like a sleep dart maybe for Diana, or like a boop for the Lucio, because you going in on those off angles, you're protected because you have this chain ability. Yeah, you have your. I think most of it is gonna be that. Yeah, Anna takes angle because she has sleep dart. Yeah, she is able to sleep any threat, and this chain ability can also be viewed this way because now it's partially why it's sitting there too. Yeah, it's just a little bit harder for you to find opportunities because you're not gonna get pushed from the main, right? And also in reality, a lot of the times when there's gonna be higher self-sufficient characters like Rodok, usually playing somewhere away from him is gonna be a bad idea too. It's just kind of another layer for us to think about. But yeah, anyway, eventually we won the first fight, and then the second fight, like we said, we could be setting up around the right side maybe. Yeah, we try to experiment with that, but my take is somewhere around the 90 angles. By the way, I have an example of this idea too, just in case you're talking about all those off angles, all those 90 off angles. Just real quick example, and you can always use it as a reference. I can also send you the video. It's just one of the it's one of the scrims the pro players been doing, the experimenting with all the new characters, especially the jetpack cat seems pretty interesting to me. But yeah, anyway,
Yeah.
there's been a lot of those taking off angles, and see why we here partially I can enable Nico in here on Emre because he takes an angle and I try to protect him, and because we're gonna get pushed I can chain somebody. Yeah, this chain actually is insane here that he hit there. But anyway, this is kind of our thought process. I would say a little bit complicated that we got killed at the start, but yeah, it just sometimes happens. Maybe you need to focus on rotation first, but always initially taking off angles. Emmer goes with us, and then after that we can do something. After that, once they get back in the fight, same thing, taking an off angle, and not only for us, but we're also thinking about who we can enable. Maybe if somebody can play with us, that's going to be really nice. But we're always searching for more aggressive opportunity setup first at the off angle, and then after that we can also, a lot of the times from pro players, we've seen that they go in and use their shift aggressively and TP out, TP back, yeah, like this, but there's another story. Anyway, it's always fine to search for the options to contest those 90 off angles first and see who we can enable, like here. Yeah, this guy right there. He's also an off angle, and I'm taking an off angle too with them. Maybe you can be slightly separate, yeah, maybe the outer helps, but it shouldn't be your primary thought process. It should be more how to do damage, I think, and then after that it's gonna be easier for you to heal up everybody. It kind of this brief idea, yeah, right at the start, but yeah, anyway, does it make sense, or any questions?
Yeah. I think the thing that this is because I have a lot of hours on Anna. The thing I kind of struggle with, and this goes to the cooldowns, is using the chain. I mean, generally, like obviously, if someone's on top of me, um, chain them and then try to kill them or get
Yeah.
away if I can. Which with the current characters in this lobby, he wasn't very easy. On
Oh
run's
yeah.
a really really annoying one, but um. So, like, should I be trying to keep my chain more reserved for when I'm getting dove? Because I also, in my games, if I see, like, a jetpack cat or, like, a Mercy that's kind of flying out of position, sometimes I'll try to chain them to get them, out of the fight, try to kill them. Um, so I was just, because I think it's a 11 to 12 second cooldown, which isn't horrible, but
Yeah.
also like kind of if I don't have it, I'm kind of out of the water.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, like, when should I be leaning more towards the defensive use, um, or using it like to confirm kills, I guess.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. What I would start with is pushing your limits with how aggressive you can be with your positioning. And because you have that passive power of aggressive position, like we see with this example here, obviously a little bit unfortunate that we died at the start in here, but anyway,
Yeah,
because I have that passive power of the off angle, I am on somewhere, like we said, there's our rules, somewhere 90 off angle, maybe, if possible. Obviously, you can try to experiment, see how deep you can go, but I would say that's kind of your limits because your shift ability is not as far. You cannot go too deep. Yeah, you always need to kind of be one shift away, one ability away from your team. So try to experiment and go on the off angles. And because you have your chain, this allows you to stay safe if you're gonna get pushed. You can chain anybody there if you're getting pushed. So the first purpose is to just try to protect your own off angle. Like in this case, they're trying to do so. You're not really getting kills. You're mostly getting better cooldown trade in a way. And then your second use of the chain, and sometimes it can happen as well, is if there's easy opportunity for you to get kills. That's how I would put it. Let's say there's a guy who's really out of position, they used a bunch of their mobility, like that Doomfist who punched in, used the slam and no block, for example, and also low HP, right? I can chain this guy, he's gonna die, no matter what, because he's out of position. Obviously, this here, yeah, like this chain here is just more of, let me try to disable this person because they contest me on the off angle, and they also contest my DPS. Yeah, because they're entering my space. Okay, but this is what's gonna be kind of the most common use, and sometimes there will be situations like this. Maybe you'll see probably like this person here. Why they're aiming for the chain partially? Because there's a kill opportunity, I would say. So you see that the person here on the point on the blue team, this guy is pretty low. Maybe we can also get the squishy, and at the same time top dragon goes in on the end run, so there's gonna be the chance for us to get the kill, but at the same time we also can be going deeper a lot of the times, yeah, because we have that chain, because we have the ability. Yeah, it's just kind of like a sleep dart in a way. That's how I would think about it. Yeah, if you ever try
Okay.
to experiment with the Ana off angles, how deep you can go, you have sleep dart, you can take off angle. If you don't have sleep dart, then it's really threatening for you to be there for whatever reason.
Mhm.
And the cooldown's sort of similar, if I'm not mistaken, with the timings. Yeah, like see, for example, here, how deep this guy is right now, and why he is holding the chain, because this allows him to feel safe, and because if he is gonna get pushed, he has this sort of a getaway card, and well, shift obviously is your mobility too, but I can exist on this, and we see this sort of 90 angle in this case because the entire team is here, we're at position B. We kind of by ourselves, but that's fine. Sometimes can happen too. Yeah, would not necessarily always have to stay with somebody. Yeah, but then chain ability right there. Why higher kill opportunity? If there's no such opportunity, then at least I'm protecting myself on the angle once I'm doing something like this. If I ever get pushed. Usually, that's how I would put it. It's a really simple way of thinking. Obviously, there are more nuances too, but that's what I would start with. Does it make sense?
Yeah, yeah. I'm kind of already re-understanding Mizuki, I think. Because
Us.
I think in my mind, because I think in my mind I separated Brig and Mizuki too much because he's a projectile and not a melee.
Hmm.
But I'm kind of coming to the realization more that like I can play with a DPS or someone else who's taking a kind of angle and still be useful with the packs. Um,
100%. 100%. I feel like, and this is what I've seen too, and that's what I think as a coach too, his value is gonna be. It's kind of similar to Kiriko's off angles where you can take those, and because you are there, you're providing threats, you diverting the enemy attention, that makes it easy for you to control the map. And you're not necessarily healing everybody. Yeah, you don't have everybody in your region when you're flanking, right? So it's gonna be
mhm.
similar to this character in a way too, because the damage is pretty big, and this utility is really strong, in my opinion. The chain ability is something we have to consider and think, oh, how we're gonna be using it. And at the same time,
I
think.
was also curious.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry. Continue.
No, I just want to say and think about it because this is chain kind of similar to the sleep dart, but you also have mobility. How deeper your angles can be compared to the Ana. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Mhm.
A question? You had a question or?
So I've seen a lot of, I mean, obviously new character, new perks. I've seen a lot of people talking about which of the minors to take. I've heard a lot of people say the majors are kind of a depending on what you're doing thing. Um, so the minor perks, I was wondering which you thought was generally better.
Yeah.
Because I think in my mind, I've
Let me
tried the
take a look.
remedy out a lot.
Hmm.
But I think the one where you chain, it gets you chain and you get 30% more damage on them for two
Okay.
seconds.
Hmm.
I feel like that's kind of the only way I can like kill like say Onron when she jumps on top of me.
Yeah. So
Because I feel like if I don't have that one, she kind of just gets out of the chain and then starts flying around me and doing her blink stuff.
yeah, I feel like, and this is something what maybe still requires more playtime, but from what I see, I would choose this chain 100%. Probably. Why? Because again, it allows you to exist on the angle longer, and at the same time, there's, like you described, gonna be easier for you to get kills too. It's just Bunny Chain increases your damage dealt to them. Is such a nice perk, and I feel like especially for the character which is built around the damage, I feel like that's what you're supposed to be doing most of the time. Because Remedy Hour resource generation, well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this one. It's still, well, it heals nearby allies, healing scales with resource generated. Well, I feel like this is not the good direction to go as usually, because this game is really more about the damage numbers. You have to find a way to
Mhm.
apply the pressure on the enemy first, and if you do it properly, then you're more likely gonna win the fight. The damage number means more compared to the healing usually. So we have to usually set up our
Mhm.
win condition around it, and you also know that you never can out heal the damage anyway. In the long term, everyone your team is gonna die. So I would say exposed soul is better. Is better perk minor. And what about the major? What do you think? What do you usually take?
Uh, so, and I've been kind of following like a lot of like the Mizuki like talks and stuff.
Hmm.
and I've kind of agreed with what I've heard. And like, if you have a more aggressive like Reinhardt, Ramatra, Junker Queen, and you don't have a Juno or a Lucio, I think Quickstep can be really nice. I also sometimes take it if like they have a like people who like even if I use my dash, chain them, they're still gonna catch me. Like a Vendetta, on Ron sometimes, Reaper. I'll take quick step as well, just to kind of help myself get more distance. Also, because I think it affects you too. I might be wrong, and I might be using it completely wrong, um, but if my tank's a bit more like a reserved one, kind of like a poke, like a Sigma, Domina, um, people that sit back a little bit more, I'll take the bouncing one just to kind of keep the healing up, at least.
Yeah, I would say that makes sense. That makes sense. Definitely something what's worth to experiment with, but at the same time, I feel like quick step is gonna be something what we're gonna take more, 100%. It's just because
Hmm.
again, win condition is trying to get your teammates and yourself included from point A to point B faster, and just thinking about it the same way like the Lucio does, the speed boost it's gonna be usually a stronger Vink addition compared to the healing, right? So we need to find ways to move our allies and at the same time move you to the right position. I think is gonna be pretty strong. Quick step, pretty strong most of the time. It's also a good question why would play Mizuki with the poke. Yeah, maybe there are also better characters for us to start with because you have something
Hmm.
Brig and Anna in your pool. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It feels kind of niche if I have more poke, which may make sense, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm thinking just pick the character for the situations where he's suitable to be in. You
Hmm.
kind of this closer range dive capability support, so quick steps probably is going to be the better answer most of the time. Of course, play with the
Yeah.
brawl too, like I described too. Maybe there's going to be the Reinhardt, somebody else. I feel like why not? Also possible, but yeah, if there are gonna be any changes, I will let you know. But so far, that's what I think. Minor exposed
Okay.
soul, major weak step is gonna be okay. Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. Any other
Yeah, I think
questions
that
or?
makes sense. Yeah, I was just wondering because I know it's a new character, new perks and stuff, and I kind of been trying them all out, um, myself, kind of seeing how I felt about each one. I think exposed soul is a definite because otherwise, like in this game, I think I took the remedy one, and there's a couple times I would like chain the Onron, and
Mhm.
she would just get out and kill me because I couldn't kill her in time.
Yeah. Yeah. Understandable. Yep. Okay. We can keep watching. Let's see. So far, our talk was around the angles, yeah, enable the teammates angles too, and now let's see. Let's see how everything's gonna play out. And see, this is what I mean. This guy is gonna get pushed, right? Imagine if we've been
Mhm.
here at the start, and of course you don't want to get too much poke in your face. You will need to be careful because you're not a sniper support. But anyway, that is
Yeah.
something what's worth to be doing. I can sit as my DPS at the start of the game and try to also chain this guy once he contests my DPS so we can get kills. And if they're not contesting you, then you can set up your own stuff. You can always go deeper and do something towards their backline too. Because see, you not necessarily have to start at here, let's put it this way, with the rest of our team, with the way they position, we're kind of sitting like we would be as maybe Mercy or Life Fever, it feels. Yeah, you kind of have vision on everything. But the reality is, I think you can start with the off angle. Let's say my hog is over here, this is B over here. I can choose my own off angle. Let's say I'm gonna be at B side, or maybe different side, like completely the left side, maybe. But I'm thinking the right is gonna be okay. And then when something's gonna happen, you can help the person, but most importantly, you can also use this off angle. I'm thinking once you set up an off angle, I want you to try to search for the options how you can be aggressive from it. So I am here on this 90, and then I can set up my own pressure with shift. So not using shift to reach the angle and help the person, mostly, but setting up, helping myself to set up the pressure too, once it's possible. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Well,
So
because if I,
Mhm.
I'm just thinking about it now. Because if I had been over here, I could have shifted, gone over to the Anna, poked at her some, or maybe even killed her if the Mizuki wasn't paying attention.
exactly,
Um,
exactly. That's what I think. That's what I think you're really good at, and I've seen a decent amount of people capitalize on it too. I would say with your offensive capabilities, that's something what's worth to be trying a lot of the times.
hmm.
But yeah, anyway, it's really good that you're paying attention to this angle here. It's just with the way our initial position can be, and with the way we can set up more aggressive pressure at the start, this can help out you to control the entire map more. Because you see, eventually this angle is getting lost, right? Right? Why? Because
Yeah.
we've been here. Yeah, we kind of lost this lane, and unfortunately we have to stabilize play slow. You have the point control, which is nice though, but I think it's just all about the time you guys lose this. Yeah, it's gonna be difficult. The Genshi Blade
Yeah.
is not it's not easy to sustain with this. It's kind
Yeah,
of
I
yeah.
threw my ult down more as like a more for my team than me. I kind of figured I
Mm,
was probably going away when I saw him jumping at me, so
yeah,
I was
understandable.
hoping that I could throw it down at least for them to help them get back up.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I feel like most of the value of the ultimate is rather not sustain with the healing. It's rather let me defend this person from the incoming damage. Because you absorb all the projectiles. It's a matrix right there. So if there's anything, and you kind of mentioned it in our chat with us, when Emery is using ultimate, or maybe there's gonna be, I'm trying to think, Far ultimate, or even Hog ultimate. Imagine if they have a Hog on their team. This is something what's gonna protect the teammates because you protecting them from the damage here. It's rather better value compared to just the entire healing. It feels not too much to me, to be honest. It just, well, it still can do something, but let's look at this Hog. How is it gonna? Yeah, actually, getting. Well, it's also his breather too, but I'm just not too sure. I feel like just the value with all the projectiles maybe can be used as sustain too, but feels like not the
I try
primary.
to use it
Mm,
like I said earlier. I sometimes try to use it. Obviously there I kind of panic ulted, but
yeah.
um, I try to use it sometimes, kind of like my own barrier in a way. Like
Yeah.
try to throw something up to top up anyone that needs it, or get anyone up that needs it, so that the fight can continue.
Yeah.
Um,
I would say it's fine.
sometimes
Mhm.
sometimes I'll use it. Uh, if there's a Ash that uses Bob, because if uh you throw it up and then your team focuses the Bob down, you can actually kill him like extremely quickly because no
Mm.
one's worrying about the Bob, blowing you away.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't last long enough to outlast Bob, so if your team doesn't, then kind of doesn't matter. But
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. I'm thinking with let's say the ultimate is okay, right? My question to you in here is where do you think it should be at this point so you can gain more value out of this fight? Obviously, trying to keep our direction we talked about before, if possible. What are your thoughts? Where should you be? Where should you go?
um, I probably mm,
And look at this picture. What the rest of the team is doing too.
yeah. I think maybe I could have stayed a little more because I think Emery's dead at this point.
Yeah.
I think maybe I could have stayed more over towards our Symmetra, maybe given her more support because Hog has his rebreather. The Onron's not really going to hurt him at all. So I think I probably could have supported the Sim more on the left. Um,
I would say so.
if I
Mm,
yeah,
yeah.
I don't think I even in this moment probably even realized she was there, honestly. Because that teammate had kind of been. Yeah, I'm not saying it's not my fault for not
Yeah.
noticing her, but
That's okay.
that teammate had kind of been all over the place that game, so I was a little lost as far as to where they were for most of it.
Yeah, no, it's understandable, but this is where we can connect a few dots with what you mentioned before and say the awareness part is indeed important in here too, right? Because if we know that there's a person taking off angle, that makes it easy for you. Yeah, that makes it easy for you to make the decision. You need to not only try to make general predictions who may take off angle on your team, but also take a look and see, okay, maybe there's gonna be Symmetra taking off angle, let me try to support that. You always kind of look, check, look around, and usually doing that during the downtime. Maybe if you have that sort of moment when you reload, or maybe you just generally speaking stabilize and you don't have any abilities, so you need a few seconds to think about what they're going to be doing next. But this is pretty important. And after that, if something goes wrong, if the Genji uses the blade, I feel like using the ultimate is fine, but then would rather not play with our tank and on the same lane, but we kind of maintain our own off angle, and then this way it becomes it easy for you to survive. I feel like you just because you see the thing is, you maintain here, you stay here, and then you use your shift to go really aggressive, which may work, I'm thinking, but yeah, you have to be really careful when falling back to the same position. Yeah, because using shift is like trying to test limits. Maybe I get a kill, but at least if not, then I move towards an angle, which is fine, but then probably stay at those positions longer. And if something goes wrong, then ultimate is gonna be okay. Yeah, that's maybe our can be our main takeaway from this, because ultimate is not too bad. Maybe, yeah, let's say it's gonna be it's gonna be giving us some sort of sustain, because they are pushing. There's a blade. We kind of talked about trying to block the projectile stuff, but sometimes there's none. Yeah, and their team in reality, I'm not sure. Maybe the Anran, that is something what we can be paying attention to in general, but I would say it's never good strategy to just skip the ultimate for one person, because you never know. First of all, you never know if they're gonna use it at all, and at the same time you also need to think about your own proactive ways of playing the character, so you force an enemy to look at you. You force an enemy actions, you force an enemy ultimates, so I'm thinking this is fine. Okay, you guys still winning this fight, that's nice. Okay, now looking for the early damage here, we should be fine for the most part. Okay. And this is gonna be the second point here, let's see. Yeah, do you have any more questions about anything, or is everything what I mentioned so far, is it clear? It's clear enough?
Yeah, it's making sense to me. Yeah, I am thinking about this character completely differently already. So
That's nice. Yeah. Well,
because
it's
I think because it's I compare him a lot to Brig, but I think he is kind of like Brig in a lot of ways. I think because Brig has that shield bash, which is so nice for relocating or
disengage.
peeling backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or just moving between cover,
Okay.
because you get it back so quickly and it's so quick that, like, unlike a lot of supports, she doesn't get I was kind of just spamming the corner there because I thought she
Yeah.
she would probably try to linger and come back.
Yeah, right there.
But this is kind of what I was talking about with the not having the 30% more damage. I think if I did, I possibly could have killed the on-run there.
Yeah, I feel like this is just a perk. Yeah, this is just the perk for you most of the time. I don't know. I don't know when you take another one, to be honest. I feel like it's not gonna be as suitable most of the time. That's my take. That's what I think. But maybe there are gonna be some changes, some more nuanced way of thinking about it. But I would say chain most of the time. Win condition around the damage, helping to win us pressure on the angles. And most importantly, you can push the enemy out too, and this is really, really nice. Obviously, there's a small mechanics with the bounces. I actually don't know how many bounces. From what I saw, it feels like around 4 bounces on the walls sometimes, so it's pretty interesting.
It's actually, I believe it is actually, it bounces. I think it. I think they have a They don't have like a limited number of bounces. I think it's the range. So I think
yeah,
it
actually might be right.
can
Yeah.
bounce as many times as, because, like, I mean, I've gone in like small rooms and like thrown it at the floor and the ceiling, and it's bounced like 8 times.
Exactly.
But I think it just bounces with as much like range as it has left to it, I believe.
Yeah. That's actually how it looks like. That's what I think. Yeah, this balances. Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. No, yeah, that's fine. Just something nice to know. It also feels like I think there's a lot of flexibility for you to fight the short range corridors. So yeah, obviously we can also show the ability from far, but this is a little tickle, I think, to do around the corners where we don't have to challenge the enemy face to face like this, but I can always think about keeping an angle like this, for example, and then bounce the shots of this wall to this angle or something. I think this is extremely good. Obviously, it takes time, kind of like with Sigma shots. Takes time to learn and apply this mechanic continuously, but something what's definitely worth to be doing most of the time. Yeah, if possible, try to search for this. Okay, actually not bad at all. Yeah, trying to chain this guy. Let's see.
My aim this game, it was pretty bad. I'm gonna be honest. It was pretty bad, even for as far as my games normally go.
Ah, that's fine. That's fine. Happens. Always.
Yeah.
Been.
So this kind of situation. Now a little bit forward, I could have probably survived this. I got a little cheeky and I poked the Orisa when I was hiding.
Yeah.
And she immediately turned around and killed me. So yeah, that's kind of the thing. Like this situation is like, okay, the enemy team is pushed kind of past where I can, they've kind of cut me off, I guess, is the best way I could say it. From being like safe, so like I'd have to go through them. It's these kind of situations where I'm kind of like, I kind of panic. I don't really know what to do.
So see, let's just try to remain it in a few steps. Like we said, we're choosing an off angle first. That's gonna be your first step. Yeah, we kind of mentioned, let's try to take in 90 angles. That's first step. And second step after, we using the angle to your advantage. Yeah, we can do multiple things. You can enable your DPS taking angles, with the healing. And at the same time, we can also use shift. So see, once you're here, you can think about what are you doing. Are you using this off angle to push somebody? So there is gonna be, especially if there's a high kill opportunity for you, or are you using shift to get away? Yeah, do you even need shift right now? Yeah, can you just sit here and do nothing? Like, what is the purpose of our shift? And maybe if you're using shift, then how to get more value out of it? What are your thoughts as well? What do you think?
Yeah, I think I kind of have kind of goes with the like kind of forcing myself to play with a tank. Um I think I have a hard time with just the idea of being in this kind of weird area where it's like I'm right next to the enemy team and I'm kind of like separated.
Mhm.
I think I have like an almost like a forced thing in my mind of like, oh, I need to be near my team. Like if I'm not, then you know, I'm kind of useless. But like I could have definitely, um, used this. I think I dashed a little too preemptively as well. There.
Exactly.
Looking back at it, what I probably would have done, I probably would have stayed in there a little bit longer. Maybe played towards that door closer to their entrance onto the point. And then if the Orisa started pushing me in there, I could have dashed out of the other door and gone to cover. Because obviously, if the Orisa pushes me in that room, she's probably going to kill me. But if I can use the dash to get away from her, then I think I probably could have gotten out of there while still getting some pressure onto the Orisa and maybe taking some off my hog.
Yeah, but see, at the same time, you see how well you guys are positioned in terms of setting up the kill on the team too, on the enemy. See how they're getting trapped right now between multiple fires. You have angle A, you have angle B, and you on the C here. So this is what I want you to try to experiment with and be okay with too. Kind of similar like with the Lucio Kiriko. What I can do is my own damage there first, and try to deal with the enemy. And you're talking about the Orisa here, by the way, but who is more important for you to deal with, and also easier, actually? You see, it's gonna be this person.
Probably Yeah, the on run.
Yeah, or maybe Genji too, but the Genji is, if he completely disengaged, then obviously the unrun, they enter your kill zone area here, in a way, and I feel like sitting here on the angle, and then after that, finding ways to get a kill on this person is gonna be okay. We're not just running at the hog to protect him, but we're rather thinking about this shift as how much damage I can sneak in, and then go back to an angle and be really annoying. Yeah, be really annoying if possible. Sometimes we don't go back to an angle, it's fine too. I feel like there's definitely a flexibility, but there's something what I think worth to be experimenting with. What angle I can take, and then after that you shift, go aggressive. Because in theory, you can be here. Yeah, you can be here. Let's say I use my shift, go aggressive on Diana. Okay, perfect. This also influences the fight. High chance opportunity for the kill, especially when she's scoped in. And then I'm also enabling this guy, which I'm not sure. Maybe there's gonna be arguably better for you position for you to be at compared
Yeah.
compare
If I
no. Mhm.
now with what I'm like thinking about with Mizuki, I would 100% be playing over here instead of in there.
Yeah, but this can also
Because I
work.
think it's
Yeah.
definitely a
Yeah.
yeah. I definitely over there could
Yeah.
work. I don't think I played it right, but
And then you see, it's gonna be attention on the end run. You have this ability in 2 seconds, so probably just hold on extra second, go in after, you get your shift, yeah, you get your chain, and then you use chain to help yourself to set up the kill. Because this guy, if they are trapped, let me, where am I? Okay, if this guy's trapped right there in the zone where Emmer can shoot, where your hawk can get a hook, I think this is a kill opportunity right there. That's really nice, and that's what you're good at as support. You trap these guys in those unfavorable areas, but now we see there's more hesitation to do so because there's also been no a clear follow-up. You have a kind of panic with shift at the start, and then we have to play with this really slow now. We cannot set up the kill. We're getting pushed, and then we die. Yeah, it's just something to think about. Yeah, definitely your
yeah.
abilities. Yeah.
I could have definitely hid there. I don't think she knew I was there until I
Yeah,
slapped
maybe.
her with one of my glaives.
Yeah.
And then if I had waited, obviously the hog started pushing back.
Yeah. That's fine. Anyway, a lot of interesting stuff though. New characters, so definitely worth to be experimented with. And this is how I personally always experiment too. If anyone asks that question, it's always new character gets released. Okay, I look at the abilities and think about all those abilities, how far those abilities allowing you to go with your position. Because positioning is a lot of the times going to be forcing the enemy to look at you. It's going to be forcing action. So you're not just throwing an ability like some people would say, just use your abilities. Yeah, just use the cooldowns. No, but let's try to also think about the position. And after that, the enemy will make the action. They will try to push us a little bit. So, trying to think here. Yeah, we can maybe already set up somewhere. I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe, let's say we're not here, but I don't know. Maybe try to go here or something. Yeah, if you know that your team is gonna go and push this right side, or maybe even worth to be experimenting with this. This one feels a little bit too far, I would say. But yeah, the right side maybe I would try because you can be one shift away from here to here. You can reach your team, so I'd be okay. I'd be okay. It's just in theory, again, just kind of what I'm thinking. If you can reach your team with your mobility, then usually the angle is gonna be fine. That's maybe also another thing to think about. Yeah, it's actually I'm gonna write it down too. Yeah, shift usage. But yeah, does it make sense?
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah.
Okay, so ability usage, it's kind of all together. So chain allows us to take more aggressive position. Also, can position one shift away from your team because it also gives you defensive opportunities. But I really think that's nice if we can set up first, and then after that we can go aggressive from the angle and see how far deep you can go. It's just the shift is such a big enabler of your aggression. Like here, I can go on the Genji, I can disable this guy, but then if something goes wrong, I always go back. So nice.
Once again, I was just spamming because I thought she might have been waiting around the corner because a lot of on runs do that.
That's alright. That's alright. Yeah, let's actually think with our positioning here for a second. So, where should he be right now? What do you think?
I probably would have gone towards that Mercy on the stairs and
Yeah.
probably poked. Maybe, well, I guess if if I was over there, the Genji probably would have came up closer, so I
Yeah.
might have been able to actually get him before he bladed. But yeah, no, definitely would have been more over towards the Mercy for sure.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's also like you said, you're trying to disable the enemy angles too, and a lot of the times, just being close to a team that is not something I'll do. Yeah,
Battery
because let's say
critical.
I'm on the Lucio. Also, sorry, it's my battery charge. Yeah. Anyway, we on the Lucio or on the Brig, we can challenge these guys a little bit. Yeah, I can push them, but at the same time, I have my hats I can throw. Yeah, the right click I can throw at this guy to help them out, or maybe there's gonna be someone else who needs help. But realistically, I don't think they need too much help. It's sort of let me set up myself. And then after that, I go in, especially because they have more self-sustain. This guy has all the self-sustain in the world. This guy has pocket, so I definitely think that you need to search for more aggressive options. Yeah, just as much as possible. Of course, we can maybe help this guy later, but it's just what it happens because we're in the main here. There's going to be high chance to not only disable the hog, but also disable you. But if I'm on the separate angle, then I'm diverting the attention, and there's going to be slightly more chance for this hog to survive and me to survive too, because the attention goes between two angles. That's how I would put it. Yeah, well, what do you think? Any questions about what we mentioned so far?
Um, no, I'm already I'm gonna have to play some comp games after this and try out try out playing him differently than I have been for sure.
That's
Uh,
nice. Yep.
I think because it's yeah, I mean I think sometimes because kind of like I mentioned, it's one of those things of like it's something that is kind of hard to notice myself because uh you kind of get stuck in playing a character a certain way, and then it's kind of hard to get out of it, at least through your own point of view.
That's true. Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
and then once you think about it a different way, once somebody suggests it, it helps kind of open that up.
Yeah.
I do have a question.
Oh, yeah.
This is not pertaining to this, but what are your thoughts on Mercy as a support? Because I personally I don't generally like to see Mercy, but maybe that's just maybe I'm wrong about that.
Well,
Because
yeah.
I feel like they could be playing I feel like I'd rather have like a lot of other supports that exist personally. Um, but I don't know. I'm obviously not that well versed in that kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, it's understandable. I feel like most of the time, for the ranked, Mercy can work. It's just, of course, the situations where she can work sometimes might be limited, but I definitely think if there's a DPS who may need the pocket, and at the same time you play more of a longer range oriented team where it's possible for you to get value of the res, I think that's nice. And at the same time, it's not only about the pocket, in my opinion, it's all the damage boost, but it's also important that the Mercy is really, really hard to catch. Really, really hard. So, how the good Mercies carry the fights is by baiting the enemies to chase them and get away. Because Guardian Angel is 2 seconds, only 2 seconds cooldown. If I spam this ability, and not just for just spam, yeah, but rather thinking about the same principle like we talked about with you. What if I can take aggressive position, force the enemy to do something towards me, bait them to chase me, use the dash, use the jumps, and then my teammates are able to carry me. Yeah, well, sort of, because I'm baiting abilities and I'm getting away from them. So I'm thinking this character, it's all right. It's just definitely, and especially in the pro play, you may not see the Mercy too much right now, I'd say. But well, to be honest, I was not watching the pro play too much. But yeah, just at least recently. But anyway, I think in ranked she may work. Just keep in mind that with how she is gonna work, what kind of comms, and try to abuse the fact that you have more mobility too. I think that's always nice. Fly between the groups, be able to support multiple people too. That's one of her stronger traits as well. That's how I would put it. Does
Yeah,
it
I
make
was kind of
sense?
just wondering because I know
Yeah.
I know a lot of
Mhm.
people. At least I've heard from people like that she's like people call her like the weakest support because you kind of do a lot of things right and you can still get kind of nothing from it.
Yeah, it's just because she has no offensive utility. Yeah, they're right. There are definitely more carry potential supports, because this game is more about the damage, and the way the Mercy influences the damage is mostly indirectly through this damage boost, or also an ability to bait out the cooldowns, like I said. Yeah, if I bait out something, like Life Fever is really good at this stuff as well, by the way, and that's why Life Fever was really bad at the start too, in my opinion, because he had no offensive power. But at the same time, the people realized that, well, I can just bait so much stuff from the enemy team and be so annoying without that sustain. So this eventually carries you the fight. So yeah, the Mercy is not as strong, but yeah, she may work. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. You can carry with any character. Let's put it this way. Yeah, maybe the Mercy might be harder one, but her her value scales, the higher you go at the rank, the more valuable she's gonna be, because players who will damage boost and try to support too, they will hit more shots. They will be at the better positions too. So obviously, I would not recommend to start one tweaking the Mercy from the bronze usually, because you will have to
Yeah,
pistol a lot of the times. But I don't know. Still, this is gonna be okay. There are one trick characters, one trick Mercy players out there too in top of 100 as well. So any character can work.
yeah, yeah. I put like I said, I play a lot of a lot of the different characters. I'd like to say I can play most characters minus Widowmaker at like a roughly like silver-ish level. Um, just kind of because of like more game sense ish stuff. Like I like to play Baptiste a lot, because of that like that damage ability and the healing. I think Baptiste is awesome, but so it's just more of a side question, less pertaining to this, obviously.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That's all right. Well, I'm thinking let's summarize. We mentioned quite a lot, and yeah, what do you think? What are your main takeaways from today's session? What do you will try to implement?
Um, I am going to completely change how I play Mizuki for sure. I think, yeah, I think kind of tethering myself to the tank, has kind of been the issue. I think playing more off with like a DPS, um, for sure is a better choice. Or even, I mean, if I have a support that's also kind of taking an off angle, definitely sit with them. Um, yeah, I think I'm gonna treat it more like I'm more like a side annoyance and less like a tank heal bot, I guess.
Exactly. Mhm.
Definitely gonna try to think of my tether less as a a me personal button and more as like a oh well, obviously use it for defense, but also like think about people I could tether to help my team kill them as well. That kind of stuff. I think
Yeah.
I'm gonna experiment more with the ultimate. I'm still kind of shaky on the ultimate. I'm still not sure where it sits. Obviously, if there's like an Emery or something, I'll probably try to orient it more around when they
Mm.
use their ult. But I'm still kind of. I think Mizuki's ultimate's kind of in a learning period for most people.
Oh yeah, that's all right. That's all right. Definitely take some time, but I feel like at least starting with this is gonna be okay. And also, don't forget, you may maybe die a little bit more when you try to do those self angles initially, when you try to push your limits, whatnot. But it's fine. It's a good sign. A lot of the times when players learn something new, yeah, and maybe you have to unlearn something from the previous time, you may drop a few divisions sometimes. It happens. So this is okay, but then after that you will go back up. This is just a common sign that we're learning something new. It just takes some time, and that's where we can also maybe take a look, have a brief replays to see what we can do to tweak this kind of thing we talked about today about the angles. Yeah, how we can survive there longer. What do we have to keep an eye on, because this is also important part. But this first is always the hardest. Yeah, finding ways to set up your carry potential in a way. That's always the harder thing to solve first. But yeah, once we're there, it's gonna be alright. Yeah, it's gonna be alright to start with the other stuff.